familiar with everything and so many emotions, and I'm still not, but I don't think I ever will be. I'm Isabel, as many as you know. I'm Jennifer's oldest daughter. I was the oldest granddaughter, and I spent most of my life here with my grandparents. After high school, I moved in with them while I went to junior college, and that was some of the closest time we had with each other. I would like to start with my papa, because that is how this whole thing started. Many of you know he was a remarkable man. The words don't fully exist to say the kind of man he was. He was so honest, so humble, and was willing to talk to you about anything, as long as you were willing to listen to what he had to say. If you weren't willing to give him your attention and your time, it was your loss, because if you did, he had so many lessons to give you about so many things. He told me life, I remember this ever since I was a kid, he told me life is about what you want it to be. He said when he was younger, he wasn't sure what he wanted from life and he didn't know how it would be, but he worked so hard to get to a place where he was happy, where he was with his Marilyn, my Mima, who he loved and adored so much, where he was talking to his 4 amazing kids, where he got to spend time with them, play tennis with them, and talk with us, his grandkids. And I took that lesson to heart. Make life what you want it to be. Choose the people you want to be in your life, because it will leave an impact. I look at the life that he and my Mima had, and it seems like something out of a fairy tale. They got to be with the person they loved the most for over 50 years. I can't even imagine. Surrounded by people who loved them, who they loved, who they had so many treasured memories with, and I heard so many of those treasured memories from so many people today. And it truly is a blessing to experience that and to be a part of that. The thing that I will remember him most for, that he was still telling me to the day, was responsibility. Every time I would talk to him, he would ask me, was I taking care of my responsibilities? That started when I was a kid, and I didn't understand back then. I didn't. I looked at my grandparents' house as a fun place where I could escape my responsibilities. And then one day in middle school, I walked through the front door, as I usually did, after a hard week of school, excited to get away from everything. I walked into the living room to say hi to my papa, as I always did, and my Mima was asleep, so I did what I usually did, and I hung out in the living room with him. And like usual, he asked me how my week had been since I'd seen him. And I complained about school and about how my parents were on me about homework. And he said, Isabel, why? And I said, why what? And he said, why would you complain? And I said, because I don't like it. I don't want to do homework. I want to be playing. And he's like, you think I get to play whenever I want? You think that I got to just go play tennis when I had to put food on the table and take care of my family? I don't think so. So that became our thing after that week. Every time I would come to the house, it would be, hi, Papa. And then he would say, hi, Isabel. Have you done your homework? That was every single weekend, and I dreaded it, because if I said yes, he would go, good. And if I said no, but I'll get to it later, he would go, is that how you plan on going through life? telling your boss, no, sorry, I'll get to it later, telling my husband, no, sorry, honey, I'll get to it later. And I knew he was right, but I would have to just say, fine, I'll do it, even though I just want to go to my den and watch TV, because nothing dreaded me more than disappointing that amazing man. Because honestly, what he asked for was so little. He asked for you to live up to the responsibility that was expected of you, and that wasn't a hard thing. And I told him that when I got to college, thank you for putting that on me, because if I were to put any of this off now, I wouldn't make it through a semester. And I hope he knew how much that lesson meant to me.
You're doing great, Bella.
Thank you. My Mima, ever since the day I was born, was my person. She was my biggest supporter, my biggest advocate, my safe zone, my loving companion. I could talk to her about anything and know that I wouldn't feel judgment. She wouldn't just agree with everything I said, but she would tell me things in a way where I felt safe, where I knew I wouldn't be judged the way that some other people would, even if it would be in a loving way. I knew that this would be hard to speak, so I wrote down. I hope you all don't mind.
No.
You love it. She was, for many years, my best friend. I would call her anytime in the earlier years. Later in life, she'd get tired and couldn't always be at the phone, but she would always get back to me about my day, my week, the good, the bad, whatever. She would be there for me, and if I needed to, she would come get me and take me away for however long I needed. Tara talked earlier about how in college she would want Tara to be over more, like, oh, you can skip classes. She was like that with me since elementary school. I would go to Palm Desert or Maui for my spring break or winter vacation, and when the last day she was like, Isabel, why can't you just take a week off from school and stay here? And I would tell her, Mima, I'm a bullied kid. I would love to stay here in paradise with you. You just have to talk to Pamela. She would look at me and say, I'm good. She knew the line on that, and I don't blame her. I knew this year that the end was coming. I told myself so many times it wasn't, but I knew it would. So I tried so hard to be there for her, sit with her even during the dizzy spells and her not remembering what day it was. And it hurt seeing someone I loved so much my entire life lose herself. But I was there, and I don't regret that. The day she left us, I had a choice. My mom prepared me. She said that I could stay away if I wanted to, and that she would tell me everything. And I said, are you crazy? This is my Mima. I am not losing a moment with her. So we got on a plane at 9 in the morning and got there as fast as we could and got 40 minutes with her before it happened. She saw us. She couldn't speak, but her eyes lit up when she heard our voices. And we got to tell her that we were there, and that if she was willing to fight, we would be there for her every step of the way, but if it was too hard, we would be there for her too, and that we would be okay here. And I knew when I said I'd be okay that I was lying, but I told it to her because she needed to hear it. I've had a few weeks to come to terms, and I still haven't, but I've had a lot of time to think. And she lived a truly amazing life. She got to spend 40 years going to all the places she wanted to be, with a husband who loved her, who made sure she was never alone. She got to see our family grow. She got to spend so much time with us, with our cousins, with her friends, with her beautiful best friend, Maurice, who is like family to us. And at the end of the day, her and Pablo were never meant to be apart. They weren't. Those two were by each other's side for 50 years, and when he left us, you could see it in her that she wanted to be with him. And that does give me the slightest bit of comfort that even though they're not a part of us anymore, even though they can't be here with us, even though I can't call them every day anymore, that they are together. Because that was the greatest relationship of their lives. They're up there with family, with friends. I know that she's with her husband, her mother, her brother, and so many dear friends that she told me the last several years that she missed. And I will miss her every day for the rest of my life. My best friend, my living heart, the biggest part of my life I've ever known. But knowing that she's okay and that she's with the people she loved, I will keep on and I will stay strong for her.